Something is abundantly clear when it comes to Ben Johnson's press conferences this week. He is challenging the Chicago Bears football team. We're going to break it all down here on Bears Now by Chat Sports. I'm Harrison Graham. Other stuff to get to as well, including the Bears and Cowboys injury report. So busy show today. Stick with us. Ben Johnson said these words earlier today. And by earlier, I mean not that long ago, a couple hours ago. I think our practice habits are yet to reflect a national or a championship caliber team. That's a pretty kind of just blunt, straight to the point kind of statement. Like, yeah, when I watch this practice, I don't feel the intensity it takes to be a top caliber team. And so what do we take from that? Is that a indictment? Has he felt that way all along? Is this just a challenge? Is it a combination? I think what he's saying is, look, this team, these players have done a lot of losing recently, and to get out of it, you got to go above and beyond. You got to take the next steps. If you think you're going 100 miles an hour, you got to go 120. I love it. Listen, we bitched about Matt Eberflus not saying anything. We can't reverse course and be like, keep this behind closed doors. One thing we know about Ben Johnson, I guarantee you he's saying the same thing to the guys in the locker room. That is abundantly clear from what we've seen up to this point. He got a follow-up on this question later in the press conference and said this. He said, we should be going to the football, finishing hard. We talk about it all the time with the offensive players that our fundamentals, our finish, our technique, they need to show up in walkthrough. They need to show up on the practice field. That's how it shows up on game day. Simple things of how do we properly block? How do we catch the ball? How do we block after the catch? Ball security, things like that. It's the little things that you learn in youth league football that even at this level, they make a huge difference. And we've heard about this from him and from others since he's been hired. The details really matter. The fundamentals really matter. And he's harping on that stuff. And we heard on Monday, he kind of subtweet, whatever phrase you want to use, like, yeah, there were things on tape that we didn't like that we saw, especially guys and how they performed when the ball wasn't in their hands. He also said this. He said, yeah, I thought when reviewing the film, the Lions played harder than us. And I think that was very obvious, especially in the second half. The Bears let go of the rope, and the Lions wanted to embarrass the Bears, and they did. And so the question now is, like, what are you going to do about it? If I'm a player on this team, especially a veteran, and I hear that, like, that would light a fire in me. Like, no mas, no more. It is time to give everything we absolutely have to get out of this funk, because that's what the Bears are in. They're a losing culture until proving otherwise. They haven't been in the playoffs since 2020, and that team backed in at 8-8. They're 15-38 since Ryan Poles has been the general manager. They've lost 12 out of 13 games. And we could talk about the talent, the injuries, is it good enough, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you got to find a way to win some football games. The truth of the matter is not a single player on this roster has earned the right to do anything less than give 100% effort constantly. I don't care if you're making $30 million per year. I don't care if you're an undrafted free agent. If you're not going balls to the wall, then someone else should get an opportunity. And I think with his messaging on Monday, we'll see who wants to practice hard this week and be more involved on Sunday. Like, I think they're going to stick to that word. If someone's half-assing, regardless of their status on this team, they're going to get less of an opportunity. I truly think that's going to be the case here. So, and listen, big picture, Ben's going to have to weed guys out. You can't turn over the roster in the middle of the season. You can't do it all at once in an off season. But, like, they're taking notes. I promise you that. And if we get to the end of the year and certain guys aren't a fit for what Ben Johnson expects, that they're not going to be here. Like, that's just how this is going to be. So it's put up or shut up time. It's like, do you want it? Do you want to be here? Do you want to win in a Chicago Bears uniform? Because if you do, then get your bootstraps on and go to work. And if you don't, then, well, you're probably not going to be here long term. That's just how it's going to be. So I'm eager to see how they respond on Sunday, because that second half in Detroit was an embarrassment. And, yeah, Detroit's a better team than you. They're healthier than you. I didn't expect to necessarily win that game, but to just completely fold after what happened at the end of the first half, it's unacceptable. It is absolutely unacceptable. If you like Ben Johnson's straightforward approach as a coach, hit that like button. I like it. Now, I would like it better if they responded And we're about to find out if they will, because they got a big game against Dallas coming up on Sunday. This is something I don't like. Jaquan Brisker, who we know is active on social media, thought, despite an 0-2 start and giving up 52 points in the last game, that responding to someone on Twitter who was questioning the way Dennis Allen is using him was the right way to go. This was the exact exchange. Blake tweets, they gotta let at Jaquan Brisker get up on the line of scrimmage, play in the backfield. Dennis Allen, gotta take down chains off. Gotta take them chains off 9. Sorry, my eyes are not great these days. Quantity B, Jaquan Brisker. Facts, use me. Dude, I just don't like that approach. And someone, I quote tweeted and I said, too much Twitter. And someone was like, don't tell Jaquan what to do yet. And I was like, I'm not telling him what to do, but I personally just think that's a bad approach. Like, this coaching staff is pretty blunt. Like, you think they like seeing that? I'm guessing they don't. And listen, I don't even completely disagree with the notion. Like, yeah, bringing Brisker, playing downhill, box safety, blitzing him stuff. Yeah, like, I would do some of that too. But, like, do we need to take to Twitter for that? We're 0-2, embarrassing loss against Detroit. Like, I don't know, man. I think there's a better way to go about these things than to air your grievances publicly by replying to some rando on Twitter. Like, I personally am not a fan of that. He can do what he wants. It's his right, but I don't think he's gaining anything by doing it. Use me. Like, you play every snap. Like, let's focus on winning this game. And yeah, maybe they'll use you differently and that'll be better. But I don't think tweeting out is going to change the way you get used. I'll say that. All right, speaking of the defense, we'll take a little deeper dive into what's going on through 2 games and how they do need to make some adjustments because it obviously has not been good enough. Then we'll take a look at the injury report as well. But today's show is sponsored by PrizePicks. You and I make decisions every day, but on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. Football's back and better than ever, and I'm firing off PrizePicks lineups every single week. It's very easy to play PrizePicks, as you just pick more or less on stat projections on 2 to 6 player lineups. If you get your lineup right, you can win up to 2,000 times your money. That's right, $10 can turn into $20,000 with PrizePicks. For Week 3, PrizePicks is offering a max discount for Patrick Mahomes of more than half a passing yard. I've used that in a 3-player lineup as I took Caleb Williams more than 218.5 passing yards. Dak Prescott more than 250.5 passing yards. Obviously, Bears, Cowboys this week. Both secondaries banged up. Both defenses struggling. I like the more there. $20 entry to win $105. Just one of thousands of examples of what a PrizePicks lineup could look like. Download the PrizePicks app today. Use our code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. Let's take a look at the Bears defense through 2 weeks. Dead last in points allowed at almost 40 per game. You give up a 52 burger in one of your 2 games. That's going to balloon that stat, obviously. 28th in yards allowed at over 382. Only one takeaway, which was a big one. The Nahshon Wright pick 6 should have been one that helped you win that first game, but it did not. Tied for 21st. Bunch of teams have just one. Sacks, only 3. Tied for 25th. Red zone TD rate in terms of how often do opposing teams score touchdowns when they enter the red zone. Tied for 29th. Not good across the board. Not good. Dennis Allen clearly has to make some adjustments. He's obviously somewhat handicapped. His number 1 corner is out for the year likely in Jaylon Johnson. Kyler Gordon, maybe the second best player on the defense, has yet to play this year. Doesn't look good for this week. TJ Edwards, we'll get to the injury report, did not practice today. Not looking good for this week. So, when 3 of your top 5 players have hardly played on defense, that does make it difficult. But you got to find different solutions. You got to try different things. I think the first thing is increasing your pressure rate in terms of how often you want to blitz. Obviously, you want to get home with 4. Every team does, even teams that blitz a lot. But 7.5%, that's an embarrassingly low number in terms of how often they're blitzing. That needs to be tripled at this point. Like, north of 20% is what I'm looking for, if not more. So I think that's one adjustment I would make immediately. Sure, if you blitz a lot, you do get burned some, and especially when you got a bunch of backups in the secondary. But, like, they're losing now because you can't get pressure with your front four. So letting these quarterbacks sit back there like a Jared Goff, like a Dak Prescott this week, and just have all day to dissect the field against backup DBs, CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens against backups, that doesn't bode well. That's going to be a challenge. So you're going to have to get more exotic and take more chances with your blitz packages. Name a defensive player that must step up this week, right now. I mean, you take a look in that secondary, a guy like Tyreek Stevenson, can you make some plays? Opportunities there to establish yourself as a corner on this team with Jaylon out, but it has not been great, especially this past week. Speaking of Jaylon Johnson, no new official update, according to Ben Johnson, nothing official regarding Jaylon's injury. They're still working through their options. I think the only part of that, the reason there's nothing new official is they're probably determining whether or not they're going to go surgery. Either way, he's likely out at minimum until December, but in all likelihood for the season. If he has surgery, it's almost a guarantee that he will be out for the season. I'd be surprised if he returned. Jordan Schultz, like he said, if the Bears were in the mix late in the year, could he be cleared by then and be back? Maybe. That would be the ultimate hope, but I think you have to approach this with long-term vision intact because you are off to an 0-2 start, and the chances of him getting back regardless are pretty low. So I think you take the route in terms of what's best for his long-term future because, listen, I'm concerned about him next year. How's he going to come back from this injury? So whatever allows him to come back best for 2026, I think that is the approach that the Chicago Bears need to take when it comes to Jaylon Johnson. Speaking of the injury report, he obviously did not practice. Neither did Kyler Gordon or TJ Edwards. Those were all expected. Jalen Jones, who they got back after cutdown day, he did not practice with the hammy. I don't know if he got banged up on special teams on Sunday, but he was not out there. Grady Jarrett did not practice either. Remember, he was dealing with that knee last week. Was a game time decision. Did play. I do wonder if they hold him out this week. And with Jalen Jones, if he can't play either, you're down to 4 healthy corners because Jaylon Johnson's we know is going to be out. I think it's safe to say Kyler Gordon's going to miss another week here. And if Jaylon Jones is out too, that leaves Tyreek Stevenson, Nashawn Wright, Nick McLeod, and Josh Blackwell. I don't understand why no one worked out yesterday. Tuesday's a heavy workout day in the NFL, and to my knowledge, they did not work out a single corner. I don't really get that. Now, they have a couple guys in the practice squad, Dallas Flowers, and I forget the other guy's name. They cut Trey Flowers. I guess they could call him up off the street. He knows the defense, but I think he went to another practice squad, so I don't even know if he's an option. I'd have to double-check that. But the point is you're getting thin. And by the way, the guys you do have aren't that good. So that is going to be a major problem and challenge for Dennis Allen over these next few weeks. That's why I mentioned guys like Stephon Gilmore, Kendall Fuller. If any of these guys are willing to play, I would give them a call and try to at least work them out. These 4 players were limited. DeAndre Swift, your starting running back with the quad injury. Jahdae Walker, who didn't play last week with an ankle. Kiran Amegadjie, he's always finding himself on the injury report. He's dealing with an elbow injury. And then DeMarco Jackson, the linebacker, the other player you picked up off of cuts or after cut down day. He's dealing with the hammy. And by the way, that doesn't sound like an important piece, but he's been active every game, and TJ Edwards is out. So you are thin at linebacker. So if for some reason he can't go, that's another defensive position that you're thin at this week. The Cowboys, 4 players in total, 2 DNPs. DaRon Bland, he is expected to miss this game, so that does help the Bears out in their secondary. Trevon Diggs has an illness. I would assume he'll be fine, but he didn't practice today. Tyler Guyton, their left tackle, dealing with the shoulder. He was limited. KaVontae Turpin with the neck. He was limited. It sounds like Turpin's trending toward playing. Not really sure what's going on with Guyton. I will say this with Guyton. He's been pretty bad through 2 weeks. I know the Bears' front 4 hasn't been great, but Montez Sweat, Dio Adengbo, Tyler Guyton is an underwhelming player at this point in his career. Like, you need to win some one-on-ones there. Like, that's a matchup that the Bears, if you can't win somewhat consistently against him, like, you got major issues with those 2 contracts. All right, who you got? Bears, Cowboys. Obviously, we're spamming beat Flus all week. CHI for the Bears, DAL for the Dallas Cowboys. Who do you guys think wins this game on Sunday? Big game. You lose, you fall to 0-3. So need to find a way to get this one done if you want to kind of dig your teeth into this season. All right, that's going to do it for this episode of Chicago Bears Now. Appreciate everybody from tuning in and who made it to the end of the video. That makes you a real one. We will be back tomorrow. We'll have a video up in the morning, and then also we'll have our Thursday live show, 4 o'clock Central Time, so be sure to tune in for that. My name is Harrison Graham. Bear down, and we will see you then.